Hello and welcome to the Bearded Horror Review. My name is Dan, aka the Boogey Man, and on this show I will watch a horror movie, either a classic or a new release, talk about some good points, talk about some bad points if there are any of either, give it a rating out of 10 if I remember to do it, and let you know if I think the film is worth a watch or not, in my humble opinion. And this week we're going to be talking about the brand new 2024 release of Speak No Evil, starring James McAvoy and a bunch of other people that I may name if I need to. Before we go ahead, honestly, this is actually a remake. This is a foreign language film. I cannot remember where it's from exactly, so I'm going to put it here. And it was out in 2022 on Shudder. I remember when it came out on Shudder, I was like, I'm going to watch that. I should watch that. And then I never watched it. And then the remake came about, and I was like, I'll watch the remake first so it doesn't cloud my judgment of the film. And then I'm going to watch the remake after, which I will be doing, and then I'll put that review exclusively on my Patreon in my remake series. So if you want to check that out, links down below. And before we carry on, guys, if you can leave a like and subscribe, that would be awesome. It's a little help from you, but it means such a lot to me, and it helps the channel out so much against the horrible YouTube algorithm. Really appreciate it. So yeah, Speak No Evil 2024 came out today in the UK. Before we go ahead, if you haven't seen it and don't want to know anything about it, and you haven't even seen the trailers or anything, I'm going to say now, spoiler warning. As much as I try and avoid spoilers, I hate spoiling things, but if you don't want to know anything about the film at all, spoilers, this is your warning. Let's go. So I've got my uniform on from... this shirt doesn't even fit me anymore. I'm looking at my screen. I'm squeezed into this shirt that is supposed to be going to charity, but because James McAvoy wears a shirt just like this in the film, so this is the uniform. I've got to squeeze into that shirt. Let's go. I gotta say, McAvoy is hench in this film. Man doing some weights. It's good, man.
Oh, well, that is very sweet of you to say.
But anyway, the film itself, not just about James McAvoy. Yes, I thought about that when I was watching the film, and I don't apologize. So let's talk about the plot. An American family who have a young daughter are on holiday, and they meet a British couple. I believe they're in Spain or Italy. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think it's Italy. And they meet this couple who seem to be having a hell of a time, and they've got a young son as well, who unfortunately is mute because of what they say is a degenerative disorder where he has a small tongue. And they get on with this family. This American family are having a hard time. You know, they moved to London for work, but unfortunately got made redundant. And they seem to be having a bad time in their marriage. You know, they're at a bumpy stage in their marriage. So when they get invited to go and see James McAvoy and his family up in the Black Country,
You have to come and visit us. The West Country? Really, it's beautiful. Yeah, that'd be great.
they take the chance when they're back in England, and they go and have a weekend away with them. And they think it's going to be a nice weekend, and it's not. It's not a nice weekend at all. I really enjoyed this film. I think the acting is impeccable. The story is, for lack of a better word, not generic. It's not something that hasn't been done before, but it's done really well in this film. Like I said, James McAvoy's incredible in it, but everybody's a great actor in this, including the kids. The American cast are really good. It's very believable that they are in a loveless marriage. Yeah, I was not a big fan of the American wife, and I won't go into details as to why, but she pulled me around during the film.
I need to get out of here now. Please, what are you doing?
Everyone has a kind of bit of an arc in this film, which is really good. The directing, the cinematography are great. This is a really good film. I have said many times on this YouTube show, channel, whatever you want to call it, the art of the slow build is gone. Well, this film is the epitome of a slow build.
I know we can both be
A bit much.
It builds and it builds and it builds into the crescendo of the horrific evening that all of these people have to face. And the finding out why of what's going on. It's really well built up. I will say this. The trailer does remove some of that tension build. And that's not because the trailer just gives everything away. Unfortunately, I think it's because of the type of film that it is. You couldn't have shown a trailer without showing some of these beats. Now, James McAvoy is clearly the standout of this film. He's always been a great actor, and you know, if he's in a film like this, a horror film, he is bringing his A game, and he nails it. He plays unhinged man extremely well.
Something's not right with him.
He is teetering the line constantly of, is this guy just a bit unfiltered, and he says things and does things that, we all wish we could say and do, but we don't? Or is he unhinged? Well, I think you can figure out what's going to happen, and it is a really good turn. The reasoning and rhyme behind it, again, it's one of those things that I love to see in film. You don't need massive, complicated stories. It's simple. And I'm not going to say what's going on, but it is a very simple premise, and it is done really well. Like I said, the film has a huge build. I think it's about an hour at least before things really get bad.
Oh no, that is really bad luck.
But there is a 10-minute segment where I was getting to a point where I was getting tired of the build, but that's because I'd seen the trailers and, I knew probably what was coming. But then there's this 10-minute segment where I was so on edge, I couldn't take it. And I knew what was going to happen, and I knew it was coming, but it kept going and it kept building, and I was getting more and more tense. I remember being sat in the theatre like this, and I was just hunched over, gripping the seat in front of me, because I loved the build and the way that they did it, and it kept going, and you're just waiting for that break, and you think that there's these two parties trying to outsmart each other, and then eventually the dam breaks and it all happens. It was so good. I loved that. For me, that was the crescendo of the film, but then the whole film happens and you see the kind of extent of what's going on. I will say one thing, for me personally, this film made me very glad that I don't have children. And I'll say that was because the children are used as manipulation and tools in this film very well to get the adults into bad situations that they know they should leave. But unfortunately, because there's children involved, they can't just act upon those desires. They have to cater to what's going on with the children as well. And I found that to be a really good tool to carry on this film. Because there are things where, as a rational person, and they say it in the film, you would do X, Y, Z. But when the children involved, you can't just do that. Things happen, and there are certain things that they bring into this, elements such as anxiety and mental health and trauma, that they use as tools to carry on the story. It's not just people making bad decisions, it's people making decisions based upon the issues that are with the children. And it's fantastically done. Really, really enjoyed it. I do think it could have been a smidge shorter, especially with that build-up, because some things happen quite early on. If they'd either cut that build-up a little bit shorter or left the spirals and the moments of unease to later, build them up slower, it could have been even better. But that's not a hindrance to the film. But that's they're going off the source material, and also that they're crafting a film. I've never crafted a film, but that's just my personal taste. I saw the break coming, but like I said, that 10-minute sequence was perfect. It was so well done. I would recommend, if you haven't seen the trailers for this already, just ignore them. Ignore them completely. Go in blind to this film, and then just enjoy it. When I say enjoy it, be anxious as hell watching it, because I was really on edge. And things kept happening, and I was just like, oh, for God's sake. I really enjoyed this film. It's been a breath of fresh air to see a film that just takes the time to build and it even says it in the film that that's what they're going to do. So I really, really can't say enough about this film. Like I said, there's so many small tweaks that I would have liked to see myself, but again, that's my personal taste. I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10 because I just enjoyed it that much. And if you've seen my last review of Beetlejuice, it was the complete opposite experience. It was me and one other guy in the theatre, and it was great. Especially with this kind of film where there's long pauses and silences. This is a film that you need to be quiet for, because that tension comes from that sound design. And that's another thing on top of this. The sound design in this is great. They use sound really well to create atmosphere and divert expectation. And the score is really fantastic as well. Really good, really enjoyed it. But yeah, if you have seen the film, guys, tell me what you thought about it, or if you are planning on seeing it, drop a comment down below. If you haven't already, please leave a like and consider subscribing. That would be awesome. Like I said, a little bit for you. Helps me out so much. Stuff's going on my Patreon. All the links down below. Follow me on social media, on Instagram. And until the next time, guys, happy watching.